Alright guys, today we'll tell you how we met because a lot of people asked us how we met, so we'll tell you the story. It's not very original, it's pretty basic, but you asked, so we'll give it to you. We'll have the timeline on the screen because it's a bit confusing. So I'm French, but when I was 18 I moved to the United Kingdom for my studies, so I studied my bachelor's there at University of Essex, and basically I moved there on September 30th in 2023. And 4 days later, so on October 3rd, I met him. I wanted to join a society and I'm Christian, so I decided why not try to join the Christian Union Society on campus. And they were doing events for Freshers Week. On the Tuesday, I was walking home and I received a notification saying there's an event going on right now. It's starting in 10 minutes from the Christian Union Instagram, and I said, why not going? So went in there, and he's actually the first person I saw in that room, and he looked very handsome.
So I was in my third year coming from Somerset. I was part of the committee and I saw you come in for the first time. I thought you were very pretty, but I didn't quite have the confidence to talk to you. So yeah, and I'd been praying for a wife for a few years.
Cute. We met on that Tuesday, and from the moment we met, for me, I had a huge crush on him. And then I saw him every single day that week because we hosted event every day during Freshers Week. We didn't speak at all on that week. He was with guys. I was with the new friends I made at uni, which were all women and which happened to now be my best friends. But I was also pretty obsessed with him to the point that on a Friday during the Freshers Fair, I took pictures of him and I had found his Instagram very early on, but I didn't follow him right away.
I wanted to talk to you, but I was too scared for about a month. So I went back home for a week. I didn't see you at all.
2 weeks after we met, I went to the TU event on that Tuesday evening, as every week. But on that evening, my best friend was like, hey, you got to talk to him. And he was hosting Bible studies. So she said, well, we're going to join his Bible study group. It was actually the only time in the week where we could go because there was 5 Bible studies a week, but it was the only time that didn't clash with my lectures. So she went and she did the whole talk, and I was just literally standing behind. Like, you know, that meme of Robert Pattinson standing in the corner? That was me. I was just standing there.
But the only thing is you didn't come to my Bible study on that Monday. You said that you were going to come even though you had no intentions of coming.
That's not true. No. In the meantime, you changed the time. You changed it from 1 p.m. to 11 a.m. At 11 a.m. I had a lecture. The following weeks, we don't really speak a lot. As I said, we only meet during those Christian Union event. But after each event, we all went to the uni bar. And that's when we would be like big groups of maybe 10, 15, 20 people. And we would kind of interact more.
Okay, so this is the end of October. We were planning on scheduling the weekend away. And we asked for helpers, in which you volunteered. So my friend wingran me and said, Alex, why don't you come meet this girl who's volunteered to help? So I introduced myself, you introduced yourself, and that began the most awkward conversation I've ever had. Probably lasted about half an hour, in which I was asking you a lot of questions but not getting a lot of feedback back, which was fine because I know you were shy or whatever. But you kindly told me that you had no intentions of living in my home country or your home country. So I felt like after that it wouldn't probably work out.
So a week after that, at our uni, we had the fireworks event. That happened exactly at the same time as our CU events. So the CU committee said, well, we're not going to host the event tonight. Instead, we're all going to go together at this fireworks event. And basically, Alex was extremely late, but I really wanted to go with him because it was so many people, like thousands of people on site. So I was like, I'm going to wait for him to be there so we can all walk together and we can spend the evening together as a big group. I waited for him probably an hour and a half of this whole thing because I was waiting for him. He arrived and he was like, oh, I forgot my student ID. He had to drive home, and I was just standing there like, this is very obvious that I'm waiting for him. Anyway, at one point we made it. He was there. We walked all together to the fireworks. We entered, standing around together, and that guy's like, oh, I'm gonna go get food and I'll be back. And he never came back. I was so upset at him. I was like, oh, I'm giving up on that guy. So I spent the evening with my friends. Then they're like, well, let's all go to the Tolbert thing. So we go there. Guess who's there already? And I ignore him. I'm like, this man just ditched me. And then he comes up to me and what does he say?
So like, do you want to play darts? But actually, let's rewind because I actually went to get food because I was starving because I was helping do this.
You could have offered me food as well.
Well, I was really hungry, so I went to look for food. Then I came back to look for you, and you had already disappeared.
No. You came back maybe an hour after, and
okay, because of the queues, and then I spent the whole night.
You could have offered me to wait in the queue for you.
Why would I ask some random girl to wait for me?
Okay, so we played darts together. It turns out the only time of my life where I could actually play darts properly. I was so good that evening.
You were like hitting triple 20s for some reason.
Eventually, guys, we ended up going to OCU weekend away, and that's when it happened.
Yeah, I tried to talk to you again for the whole time and I wasn't getting much feedback.
No, that's not. Guys, he's so lying. Firstly, I'll tell you everything I did for this man during the weekend away. I arrived at the venue. There's multiple people. Some people are playing Uno. Some people are playing something else. Guess which game I start to play? Uno. I hate Uno. I actually hate playing Uno. Then on the next day, what was it? We had the choice between doing climbing or doing drawings. All my friends went for the drawing. Guess what I did? Climbing.
And then you said, I tried to talk to you and you started speaking in Spanish or something and I didn't understand. So
No, I was speaking with your friend. The weekend away was kind of, again, I was trying to make a move with each other, but every time it didn't work because I would make a move and he would not reply to it. Then he would make a move and I wouldn't reply to that.
what happened at the end was I invited you to come to Mackey's on the drive-through. I said, oh, does anyone want to come with me? You can come get Mackey's on the way back. You said, no, I'm going to help out.
I had heard from my friend that he was staying the whole day to pack down. So I said, I'm going to stay as well. There.
Well, I did end up taking you.
Yeah.
We went to Mackey's. I bought you 20 chicken nuggets.
So basically in that car, he took one of his friends and he took two of my closest friends back, paid for everyone. And everyone was like eating and eating. And I was like, I feel really bad because he's bought all of that for us, but he hasn't had a bite. So I just said, all right, I'm going to feed him nuggets. So I took the nuggets as he was driving and I fed him. And this was such a bold move from me.
I said to you, oh, I'll see you on Tuesday, I guess, or something like that. And then immediately after, my whole skin went red. It's not like I'm blushing. It's like my whole body went red.
Monday, we didn't see each other. On a Tuesday, we saw each other at CU. You asked me about my exam. You asked me how my exam went. And I was like, oh, he remembers I've got exams this week. And I was like, this is really cute. On the Thursday, I was studying for my exam. Just intrusive thought came into my brain that I had to text him. I texted him about something that we had talked about beforehand. And we talked back and forth that Thursday evening and Friday. And then on that Saturday evening, I actually went out with my friends. We went out to see Hunger Games. And as we were waiting for the bus on the way back, he sent me a message.
Yeah, I said if you wanted to come with me to try some French or Italian food in Colchester. So I invited you to an Italian restaurant because there wasn't any French ones. And then you said yes.
So the days go. On Friday, we had a spontaneous first date. Our first date was planned on Saturday, but on Friday, for some reason, we went out for food as well, which was so awkward.
I didn't want to use up all my conversation. So I only spoke like half of it.
Yeah, we didn't go for it that long. Then we hadn't texted all of the Saturday, so I was like, what if he just ditches me or ghosts me? But no, he was there on time. I went into the car and he drove me there. And then we sat down, we had Italian food. And I knew right away he was going to be my husband because that date went so well. One point in the dinner, he said, when you meet my family.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember actually saying that.
You did.
But I'm glad I did. I said, so did you come out today just for the food? Or was there something else? And you were like, I think you're a really nice guy. And you were like, why did you come? Why did you invite me? So, I think you're really pretty. I think you're a really nice girl. And I'd love to get to know you more or something
No,
like
you
that.
said I had nice values. But what did you know I was going to be your wife on the first date?
Before, I didn't know whether you were into me, which is why I asked that question. And then as soon as the date finished, I knew you were going to be my wife.
Yeah. On the Sunday, we didn't see each other. And then on the Monday, we saw each other briefly at the library. On the Tuesday, we saw each other at the CU event. And no one there knew we went on a date except for our friends. And then on the Wednesday, he asked me on a second date. We went to get Asian food. And on the way back, because we used, when we started dating, to just spend hours in his car, he was like, well, I guess we're official. I was like, I guess so. And that's when we started dating. But I'm still upset he didn't actually ask me to be his girlfriend. Anyway, that was December 6, 2023. Then we got engaged on December 18, 2024. Then we got married on July 10th, 2026.
Yeah, and then we had a promise ring like a month after dating.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, this is the shortened story. I know this is extremely long. This is the shortened story because so much more happened between October and December. Right, this was how we met. We are now happily married. All right, guys. Bye. We gave the people what they wanted.